Okay, today's reading I'm going to keep real simple. And I'm going to read Neville Goddard's chapter 1 from his book, I Know My Father. His chapters are short. His message is very impactful, and I'm really appreciating his wisdom. So chapter 1 is called I Am. My Father is he whom men call God. But I know my Father, and men know not their God. He's quoting the Bible. My Father and your Father are one. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. I and my Father are one. One Father made us all to live, move, and have our being in him, the one. Who then is this one that we have in common? The one and only thing all men have in common is this: all men know that they are. I love his landing of this concept of beingness. Even if you knew nothing about yourself and you were just sitting there like a lump of coal, you couldn't hear, you couldn't see, you would know that you are. And I never really got that energy from the phrase, I am. And I love that he focuses on that. We all know that we are. We're aware of our own are-ness. And that is what I am signifies and means. I am. This claim that we are, this awareness, is our Father. And he lands it so beautifully because it reframes it. Rather than this dude out in a chair, right, that I'm like praying to maybe or whatever, that's judging me and stuff, my I am, my awareness of being is my Father. Pulls it all in, pulls all the power in. There's no place that man can go and not know that he is. If I take the wings of the morning and fly to the uttermost parts of the earth, thou art there. I know that I am. If I make my bed in hell, I know that I am. If I should suffer from amnesia and completely forget my human identity, I will still know that I am. It is impossible for man to know that he is not. Even if you had no language at all, you would still have an awareness of a being. We can all get to that place. And that is consciousness. They're doing the roof next door. If you can hear the banging, forgive me. They know that they are. You can say, I am not that, but you cannot say, I am not. For your very knowing is a declaration that you are. Isn't that funny? You can't say I am not, because the fact that you can say that means that you are. So whether you claim yourself to be or not to be, you are actually claiming that you are. Thus man is ever saying, I am. This knowing that we are, this awareness, is God the Father. He reframes this so beautifully in a way that it's actually translating other things that I'm looking at it's really unlocking the meaning in a whole new way. And I think that's where Neville is such a key component of this. It begins to unlock other religious texts, the Bible, the Course in Miracles, any actually major religious text that you look at, when you can look at God or the Father being redefined as consciousness and the journey to consciousness, suddenly a link between Buddhism and Hinduism and enlightenment and all of these different pathways becomes clear, because it takes it out of this dude sitting in the sky and puts it in the same conversation of consciousness and what's going on up here and the power for creation being up here. The moment this unconditioned awareness becomes conditioned by claiming itself to be this, that, or the other, a differentiation takes place within this formless awareness, and our impersonal Father, our real self, becomes personified as that which we have conceived ourselves to be. So this is how he explains thoughts becoming reality. And it does it so beautifully. This impersonal presence that we are may be likened to space. For space, through formless, gives form to all. In other words, if I don't have the space in between, like me and the couch or me and someone else, then there's no differentiation between us. The space is as much a part of us as us, because without it, we wouldn't be separate. I wouldn't even know that I am something separate. If the formless space was extracted from the book you're reading, the body you wear, the earth you stand on, all would vanish. Should help it to be a little quieter there. Okay. Consciousness through formless gives form to that which it is conscious of being. But the moment you withdraw your formless reality or consciousness from your conception of yourself, the form you wear, this conception passes away. A conception remains a formed reality only as long as the invisible reality wears it. My Father is spirit or formless, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. I and my Father are one. My awareness of being is the formless Father who gives form to that which I am aware of being, and in so doing loses its formless, nameless presence in the form and nature of its conception of itself. So in other words, I'm coming from nothingness, and we know this from the world. Alan Watts talks about all the time, right? Something comes from nothing. That's part of this world. Something comes from nothing. And actually, there was a Abraham Flipbook reading recently that covered that, but I don't know if I have it here. How Your Planet Came to Be. Something coming from nothing. Talks about it right here. It was a lot of non-physical energy imagining how your planet came to be, is what it's called. Imagining a physical environment of sensuality, a physical environment where the earth itself was self-sustaining, and that everyone on it, a guest upon it, could have all the resources that would ever be necessary to provide for luxurious and delicious physical experience. Thousands upon thousands of non-physical energies imagined this place of bliss and opened this vortex that was so powerful it literally reached to the boundaries of the universe to draw the mass that was necessary in the creation of it. And this Big Bang they talked about wasn't one fast explosion, it was a series of explosions as the ideas and mass met. So it's talking about, the formless becoming form. And if the formless truly wants a form or sees itself or has a conception of self in a certain way, it becomes. This is creation. This is the power that creates worlds that we're directing through our I am or our awareness of being. As water loses its identity when mixed with things, and yet remains untarnished when it is extracted through distillation, so the awareness, the no thing, loses itself in things, conceptions of itself, and remains its immaculate self through spiritual distillation. You are spiritually distilled or extracted from your conception of yourself when you cease to be identified with it. That metaphor with water is one of the most powerful metaphors I've ever heard of spirit to form that I can relate to. I'm blown away by that. So in other words, we know when water gets put in things that you can distill it out. You can always pull the water out. And we have many processes in chemistry and cooking and all over the place where you can extract water out of something and it's still pure water. So it can become a part of another substance and then it can be taken out and be pure water. And it makes so much sense with spirit, that we are spiritually becoming form, and then you can pull out whatever was spirit and it remains just as pure and the form dissipates. I love that. You are spiritually distilled or extracted from your conception of yourself when you cease to be identified with it. And so this is how we can evolve ourselves beyond what we thought we were. There is by changing our conception of self. The spiritual energy comes out of it and goes into another form or shifts. Now that you have found this one to be your Father, the eternal now, I am, do not return to the prodigal state. So now he's referencing the prodigal son, right? Thinking we're something that we're not. Do not return to the prodigal state to beg for the crumbs of life. Remember your Father, the now, the only reality. My awareness of being, my consciousness, and now. Forget the past. Claim yourself now, this moment, to be that which you desire to be. And regardless of what your claim may be, your Father, the awareness that is now, will give it to you by becoming the thing claimed. But you must ask him in this manner. Be aware of being that for which you ask. No longer look for your Father in time and space, for your Father is the awareness that is now. I and my Father are one, but my Father is greater than I. My awareness and that which I am aware of being are one, but the I am is greater than that which I am aware of being. So my spiritual self, the consciousness, the I amness, that's the spiritual component, is greater than my physical component, but it's defining my physical component. It's giving me what I ask for. So I am just my conception of myself. I'm just creating myself all the time. I'm renewed all the time. It's happening in every moment. So if I don't like the conception of myself or who I am right now, I can change it and something else will show up, but I have to let go of the past and be willing to accept it now and shift now and believe it's possible and know it. I and my Father are one. The conceiver will ever be greater than his conception. The Father, or consciousness, is greater than his Son, the conception of himself. Now your eyes are opened. Your Father, God Almighty, has been revealed to you as your awareness of being. Mic drop. Love me some Neville. I just feel it's so impactful for this conversation of realizing I am the cause and how and why I'm the cause. Not just saying that, but really getting the interpretation of so many wise metaphysical texts and messages that have been given to us, but interpreting in a way that we can actually use and apply in the now. So, anyway, beautiful. Thanks for your wisdom, Neville. Appreciate you. And I appreciate you. Have an amazing day.